Hey, 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 ladies and gentlemen, we are here. We are live for some Week 12 NFL action and a little bit earlier than normal. But once again, it was another week where I'm like sitting here ready to go. So the only thing that's going to happen if I wait that extra half hour is I'm going to be sitting here second guessing myself. So why not just fire away, start the stream, get the picks out there. So we're a little bit earlier than normal. Normally we do 7 p.m. Eastern. We're doing 6:30 p.m. Eastern this week. And hey, let's again, if all that's going to serve me is sitting there second guessing my picks, it's not serving me at all. So let's just go ahead and fire away when we are ready. We're going to start our podcast recording down there as well. Sounds like that's capturing that. We got Broken Ankle in the chat. Broken Ankle is here and ready to roll. Broken Ankle, by the way, a guru of the Tim Hortons NHL Challenge, like an absolute guru. I think what was the streak you had earlier? Was it 14? Was it 14 straight? Did you get to 14? Was it 2 consecutive weeks or did you fall? Was it just short? Was it 18 in a row? Holy crap. So yeah, if you live in Canada and you drink Tim Hortons and you like free stuff, follow Broken Ankle on Twitter because like again, absolute guru at the Tim's NHL Challenge. All right, let's set this up where I want it to be, which means getting rid of these two things. So this is a super short week. This is only 13 games, so it's one of the two shortest weeks of the entire regular season. So I have a goal, and my goal is I want to do the stream in an hour. That's a lofty goal. If you've been following me for a while, you understand how lofty of a goal that is. But we're gonna shoot for it. We're gonna shoot for the moon, and even if we fail, we land among the stars. Okay. In 5, 4, 3. What's happening, everybody? Justin, Bridgewater's Finest on YouTube, Blockbuster_guy on Twitter, and welcome to week 12 of my weekly NFL football pick show for the 2024 NFL season and postseason. And I'm just realizing as I start the stream now that I am turned to the wrong page on my book. So we'll take a little flipsy there and we'll go over. All right, so week 12 of the NFL and coming off of a week 11 that is arguably my best week of the entire season. So coming off of week 11, a massive 12-2 straight up in week 11, huge numbers. My second straight week of going 9-5 against the spread coming out of week 11. So look, 18-10 over the last 2 weeks. On fire there, and feels like we gained a little bit of traction back on the totals as well, going 7-6-1. We'll take it. It's above water. 102-64 straight up, 94-68-4 against the spread, an absolutely banner against the spread season for me up to this point in the season, and now only 3 games under 500 on the totals. So we're going to feel pretty good about that. I like the spot that I'm in. And the rule of 4 has hit in 4 of the last 5 weeks. So it feels like everything is right with the world again. And as soon as Kat shows up, I'm sure Kat will start screaming at me about the rule of 4. Taking a peek at the Bridgewater's Finest Pick'em pool for season 13 of this show, I made a little bit of a move and moved up to 19th place in that pool out of the 34 competitors with 911 of 1,340 possible confidence points, a clip of pretty well exactly right on the money, 68%. I brought in 92 of 105 possible confidence points last week, which is a clip of just a little bit over 87.5%, which was good enough to tie for the win in week 11. Shout out to Mugshot 45, which I believe is a reference to the president, but I don't want to lay anything on anybody, but Mugshot 45 and ya boy Bridgewater's Finest tie for the win in week 11, 92 of 105 possible confidence points on the week, 87.6%, good enough for a tie for the week 11 win. Tyler's Picks remains the overall leader in the pool, 992 of 1,340 possible confidence points, a clip of pretty well exactly 74%, which historically is good enough to win the overall pool, but we've still got quite a bit of runway here in this regular season as well as the postseason. If you're in the Pick'em pool, a reminder, it continues through the postseason. So don't stop making picks just because we get to the end of the regular season. Let's take a peek now into Fantasy Corner, which is, of course, brought to you by my good friends at the Dynasty Trade Calculator. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are like me and you have made the move to Dynasty, Keeper, and long-term fantasy football, there is virtually no better resource that you can find online for any of those than the Dynasty Trade Calculator. It does not matter how your league is configured, doesn't matter the roster size, if you have a tight end premium, if you're a super flex league, if you run 2 tight ends, start 2 quarterbacks. It does not matter how the league is configured. The Dynasty Trade Calculator has got you covered with specific player rankings, trade evaluations, great podcasts with a bunch of great experts, and for as little as a cup of coffee with my referral link, which is in the description below to this live stream, you can join the Dynasty Trade Calculator and give yourself a leg up on your Dynasty competition. Get yourself out there and win some Dynasty championships. Now, last week was not a good week for me. I have 8 fantasy football teams, as everybody here knows. I went 1-7 in those 8 leagues. Big time stinker. And it's a bad time of year to have a stinker of a week because, again, in a lot of in all the redraft leagues that I'm in, only 4 teams make the postseason. And I'm kind of on the cutoff line in a couple of those leagues. So I can't afford to have another week like I did last week. But yeah, 1-7, not very good. In my best ball leagues, I did take back over first place in one of my best ball leagues. Unfortunately, it's not the money one, but I am in first place in one of those leagues. Just kind of dipping my toes into best ball, trying to play a little bit more of it every year as I get more comfortable with the format. Now, 2 of my 7 losses, unfortunately, came in the 2 dynasty leagues where I had a loss against Mitch in the professionals and a loss against Bill in Ante and Co. So in Ante and Co, I've now lost 3 straight games, and it's been completely peak and valley for me in that league. I lost the first 4, I won the next 4, and now I've lost 3 in a row again. So I've been searching for consistency all season long, haven't quite found it yet. Now, I am still kind of on the playoff fringe in that league. In the professionals, I'm sitting top of the pack, even with that loss last week, still in first place at a record of 8-3. And I got week 12 matchups against Tim in the professionals and Stephen Doc Love in Ante and Co. Looking forward to those matchups. And I'll take this opportunity to remind you that if you go to the description of this live stream, of the VOD, of the podcast episode, however you interact with this show, you're going to find all my results from week 11, all my straight up against the spread and over under plays for week 12 in the NFL. You're going to find information on joining my Pick'em pool, the Bridgewater's finest Pick'em pool for season 13 of this show, and also find information on joining the NFL YouTube Prognosticators Facebook page, where there's a lot of great prognosticators just like me doing content every single week, talking football all week long. The NFL YouTube Prognosticators page is for you if you love football. Now, we don't have a ton of injury news to talk about this week, which is a good thing. I mean, you never want to have a lot of injury information to talk about. We do have a notable quarterback change, which we might as well get right out front. The New York Giants have officially benched their $40 million man in Daniel Jones, and they've turned it over to the man with the great nickname, Tommy Cutlets, Tommy DeVito, the new starting quarterback for the New York Giants. Do I think it's going to work out? We'll see. I mean, he certainly had some flashes last year when he got a chance. I feel like this is a lot of hype, I suppose, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens. So, without further ado, we have 6 teams on bye this week: the Falcons, the Bills, the Jags, the Bengals, the Saints, and the Jets are all on bye. And of course, the Jets, because you can't possibly have an Aaron Rodgers led team that doesn't dominate the news cycle. Even though they're not playing this week, everybody's still talking about the New York Jets and what's going on with firing the GM and just all kinds of craziness that's going on with the Jets, even though they don't have a game this week. But 6 teams on bye means we only have 13 games. So we're going to do our spotlight games and then only 3 games in between. That gets our 13 games covered. And once again, I have got a goal here that I'm going to get this show done in an hour. So, wasting no more time, we're going to start with Thursday night football. The Pittsburgh Steelers on the road in Cleveland, taking on the Browns, battle of the AFC North. Now, the Steelers come into this game on a 5-game win streak, playing some of their best football of the season. Cleveland has dropped 2 straight, and as I have for a good chunk of the season, Cleveland is basically a hard fade for me right now. Like, the Jameis Winston story has been fun, but I don't see much of anything with this team. They're moving the ball okay. Like, they're top 10 in total yards over the last 4 games. So they're moving the ball fairly well, but they're doing absolutely nothing with it. They're bottom 5 in efficiency. They're moving the ball. They're not scoring any points. So going up against a Pittsburgh team that is highly efficient on the offensive side, at least in the last month or so, scoring a lot of points, and a defense that is playing essentially out of its mind. Even though the game's in Cleveland, I just don't see a spot here where the Browns pull this upset, even in a division game. The Steelers are 4-1 on the road. Cleveland's 1-4 at home. The Browns are also 1-4 against the spread at home. The Steelers are 4-1 against the spread away. I don't see the pathway to this happening. It's a pretty monumental collapse, I think, for the Steelers at this point, if they played the way they've played the last month and then all of a sudden come into a division game and just kind of lay an egg. It can happen. I just don't think it's going to happen. So let's go ahead and grab the Pittsburgh Steelers here on the road to get a fairly convincing win against the division rival in Cleveland. Against the spread, the Browns are only taking plus 3.5 here as a road dog. Some people might look at that like, oh, I got to buy the extra half point. I'm not worried about it. Not in this spot anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and comfortably lay the minus 3.5. Total in the game here set at 37. I do think this game sniffs 40, and I think a lot of that is the Steelers offensively are playing pretty well right now. They're scoring over 27 points a game in the last month. So let's go ahead and grab a over here, or an over, as the grammar police would say. An over on the 37-point total in Pittsburgh and Cleveland. I'm going to go like 27-13, something like that. I think this does sniff the 40 points. So Steelers win. Steelers cover the minus 3.5 comfortably and give me an over on the 37-point total. We got Gorian in the chat now, too. We got Andrew Warren in the chat. All the Warriors are here so far for the early stream. So let's keep it going here. The Minnesota Vikings on the road in Chicago, taking on the Chicago Bears. Now, this is the story of 2 teams going in completely opposite directions in the last little while. The Bears are pretty well the dictionary definition for me of a hard fade right now. They're losers of 4 straight games. The offense has been putrid. The defense has been, fairly good from an efficiency perspective. They're giving up a lot of yardage, but they've been very bend but don't break. They're, top 5 in defensive efficiency over the last month. The Vikings are winners of 3 straight games. They're also 4-1 on the road this season. But over the last month or so, I don't really know what to do with them. The defense has been very strong. Like, I think they've played some really good defense over the last month. And the offense has been kind of really not great for the fact that they've been, or seem like they've been mostly healthy. I don't know. We're just not seeing what you would hope or expect to see, I think, out of an offense, headlined by Justin Jefferson. They're just not performing offensively the way I think you would expect them to. And there's a really, really interesting storyline now that's developing in this game that literally just developed within about an hour of me going live. And that's that Sam Darnold's now dealing with a foot injury. This was not like he went into last week, I think it was, a little banged up, had a pretty decent performance, but now it's a foot injury. So now you're talking about lack of mobility. You're talking about limited practices, a division game. I actually like the Bears to absolutely steal one. I think the Bears deserved better last week. Yes, they're losers of 4 straight, but again, 2 of those games have been the Jaden Daniels Hail Mary, and then last week the Packers blocking a kick that, let's be honest, they got away with a penalty on that blocked kick. So the Bears, I feel, have deserved better. So I'm actually going to take them to absolutely steal one here in Chicago. Give me the Chicago Bears at home to beat a Minnesota Vikings team that could be playing Nick Mullins at quarterback. So give me the Bears. Give me the Bears here in an upset win. On the line, the Bears are taking +3.5, and they're actually 4-1 against the spread at home this year. So I think one way or the other, this does feel like a hedge to me where you do have to buy the extra half point. And it's not like the Vikings are, lighting the world on fire right now. They're playing well defensively, but again, they're not, totally, they're not a dominant, they're not a Pittsburgh. You know what I mean? They haven't been a dominant team over the last month. So the +3.5 for sure. And of course, I like the Bears to win it outright. Total in the game set at 39.5 points. This is a very comfortable under for me. I think this goes under by almost a touchdown, to be honest. Give me like a 17-16. Maybe the Bears get some karma back by this time walking off a team rather than, or getting another opportunity to walk off a team and actually converting on it this time. Give me a 17-16. Bears win. Bears cover the +3.5 under on the 39.5 point total. Up next, the Detroit Lions hit the road going to Indianapolis to take on a Colts team that was a winner last week. The Lions have reeled off 8 straight victories. Arguably, I don't even think it's an argument right now. They're definitely the best team, I think, in the NFC. I would take them over the Philadelphia Eagles. And they're, one of the top 2, top 3 teams in football, I think, easily. Indianapolis, like I say, they were winners last week. The Lions 5-0 on the road this season. They have been dominant away from Detroit. Now, they are going to be dealing with an injury on the defensive side of the ball, which is Alex Anzalone at the linebacker position. Fractured his forearm, I believe it was. He's going to be out 6 to 8 weeks. So possibility maybe that he could come back if the Lions make a deep playoff run, but we're obviously not going to see him for quite some time. The only thing that gives me pause in this game, not from a straight up perspective, like I think the Lions are going to win this game. They're favored by quite a bit on the road, 7.5 points, and the Colts are 4-1 against the spread at home. So to have to buy an extra half point on a full touchdown for a team that's had a lot of success against the spread this year, I think this is the way we're going to have to go. I like the Lions to win the game outright, but I'm actually going to take that +7.5 on Indianapolis in this game. I think I'm going to bite on that. Yes, Detroit is 4-1 away from home, but again, to buy the extra half point on a full touchdown when you're not I don't think the Colts are a bad team by any means. They're not great, but we'll take the +7.5 on Indianapolis. Total in the game set at 50.5. I actually like a sneaky under in this game. I don't think this is a game of absolute fireworks. Again, I've talked about it a little bit. I do think this Colts defense is still a little bit underrated. So I'm going to take a sneaky under him. We know how good the Lions are on the defensive side. So under the 50.5 point total in this one, I'm going to go like a 26-21. I'm going to go fairly close here. I think Anthony Richardson still playing with some stuff to prove. So let's take that 26-21 final. Lions win, but give me the Colts plus the 7.5 points and an under on the 50.5 point total. And the last game we're going to look at before we get to the Packers game is the New England Patriots on the road in Miami, division game, taking on a Dolphins team that has really turned stuff around since Tua Tagovailoa came back. They're winners of 2 straight games. The offense is playing exceptionally well lately, scoring about 28 points a game over the last month. Defensively, about they're middle of the pack. They're okay. They're a little below the league average in terms of efficiency on the defensive side, but they're not great, but they're not terrible. The Patriots, especially on the defensive side, to me have kind of played themselves into a kind of mild take. Like, I feel really good, not so much about the offense. I think the offense is still very much a work in progress, although over the last month, their offense has steadily gotten better. But on the defensive side is where I have the most amount of confidence, I think, in the Patriots. They were losers last week. Again, Miami's kind of feeling themselves right now, like the last two games, winners of 2 straight. I don't have a ton of faith in the Dolphins. I don't know what it is. I don't know if there's a bias there or if I'm still just kind of working my way away from the way I've felt about them for the season up to this point. Like, if I'm still kind of slow on the uptick there, they're a different team. They're certainly a different team on the offensive side. I feel like this is going to be a low-scoring game, and in a low-scoring game, I kind of like the team with the better defense. It doesn't help that the Dolphins are laying 7 points, a full touchdown in this game, and they're only 1-4 against the spread. So I've talked quite a bit, or 1-4 against the spread at home. And I've talked quite a bit this season about, like, you have to be a team that deserves to be heavy favorites in order for me to lay those points. There's a lot more to be made on a season-long basis taking points. So the -7, I'm not laying. I'm not laying a full touchdown on a team that's 1-4 at home against the spread. And actually, Gorian, I would argue the fact that you only play money line is a you problem. So we'll agree to disagree on that one. So yeah, I don't feel like they deserve to lay the 7 points. I'm actually going to take the Patriots here outright. I'm going to take the upset. I don't love their offense, even though it's getting better. And obviously the Dolphins offense, they're significantly better. But again, in a low scoring game, I'm going to opt for the better defense. And over the last month or so, that has been the New England Patriots. So let's take the upset here. Patriots on the road in Miami beat the Dolphins. So again, Dolphins laying -7. I will take the +7 here on the Patriots, where I like them to win outright. Total in the game set at 46. Patriots only 1-4 to the over away from home this year. I like a low scoring game. So let's go 23-20 in favor of New England. Again, maybe another walk-off. Who knows? Patriots win. Patriots cover the +7 and give me an under on the 46-point total. All right, let's get caught up here in the chat. Broken ankle, big spreads this week. Yeah, there's a lot. There's multiple double-digit spreads that we're about to get into here. There's an 8.5. There's like a couple of 6s. Like there's a lot of points out there. Vegas is feeling froggy this week, which is kind of fun. Andrew, I made it in time for dinner. Awesome. We like that. Unless it's Jerry Jones' brain, if you count that an injury. It's the Aaron Rodgers show, even on a bye. It seems that way, doesn't it? Browns are back to being the Browns, like my Bruins, even though they fired Jim Montgomery yesterday. Yeah, what a weird coach firing, eh? Just so strange. Like, he's got like a 715 points percentage. It's crazy to fire a coach that's been that successful this early in the season. And that's NHL talk with Bridgewater's finest. Steelers are my 12-point play out of 13. That totally. Division games, sometimes that can be kind of tough, but I totally, I believe in that. Williams like the new Justin Fields in Chicago. Ooh, interesting. Interesting. Steelers, Lions, Dolphins. Hmm. Obviously, I like two parts of that. Vikings can't catch a break at quarterback. It seems that way, man. And again, like, if they do have to go to Nick Mullins this week, don't love it. Don't love it. Still taking the Vikings. It's the Bears. I mean, that's fair. That's not an unfair position. Hammer the Lions, like it. Lions picking up where they left off against Jacksonville. And that's part of the thing too. Like they dropped so many points last week. And you got to wonder if it's like when you score that many, what I really should have done is found, because you can find this fairly easily, the history of 50-point games in the regular season and see how those teams did the next week. That would have been an interesting thing to do. I should have done that. Corian, you will lose. Fair enough. Colts need help at quarterback and coaching. I mean, A-Rich had a good game last week. And again, I feel like so much of the criticism against Richardson was kind of overblown, kind of Pat McAfee show influenced. But I mean, it's not like he didn't earn it, but some of it was kind of out there. Detroit's in another class, even with their third team offense and defense. Broken ankle likes the Colts play against the spread. Anthony Richardson needs to go in Miami. He'll play better there. Interesting. Let's see. Lewis Chesney, New England win. Despite my Patriots losing lately, they play their opponents on their heels. Let's see. I do take the points when I feel like it. 2 wide receiver, 1 flex. Lamb, AJ Brown, Puka, and Evans. I mean, Evans is coming back from injury, but I think he's cleared to play. Lamb, I think, just got hit with the Q tag today, which you don't love to see on a Wednesday. But AJ Brown, I think, is a definite. Puka is a definite. If Lamb is healthy, play Lamb, I think. Yeah, if Lamb is healthy, play Lamb, even though I think the Bucs have a favorable matchup, but that's just me. Let's see. New England always plays good in Miami. It'll be nice win of my Patriots to beat Miami. They haven't won there since Brady left New England. And Anthony Richardson would be a hell of a running back. Interesting. It's the old like Cam Newton, Lamar Jackson style of criticism. That's fair. I hear you. All right, the San Francisco 49ers on the road in Green Bay taking on the Packers. As I mentioned, Packers were winners last week. The Niners were losers last week, so two teams kind of somewhat going in opposite directions, at least on that level. Here's the thing about Green Bay, and I'll say this up front as a Packers fan, probably didn't deserve to win that game. And that's part of what fuels me taking Chicago to win outright this week. I really genuinely feel like they got away with one. Like that was a butt ugly win. Now look, we'll take them. We'll take all the wins, but that was a butt ugly win. Niners were losers last week and maybe dealing with a couple of injuries on their side. Nick Bosa, I believe, re-aggravated his hip and oblique injuries, which has me kind of leaning out on him this week. That's kind of a 50-50, a coin flip for me. And Brock Purdy is also dealing with soreness in his throwing arm. So both of those things are not favorable for them in a road matchup with a good football team. On Green Bay's side, chances are we probably don't see Jair Alexander this week. He's dealing with a knee injury. Luckily, he avoided anything serious, but I would say he's 50-50 to play. He's easily their best corner when he's healthy and would be shadowing like a Deebo Samuel and can, I think, mostly take a lot of Deebo's effectiveness out of the game. But if he's only 50-50 or not playing, that really kind of puts the Packers back on their heels. I think this is a Niners game. I think the Niners are in the process of getting healthier, in the process, like they still have to kind of make a run here. If they're going to, make the playoffs and be like a comfortable playoff team, maybe even potentially win the division, it might be a little tough at this point, but like their run kind of needs to start now. And again, the Packers did not fill me with confidence coming out of that game last week. So I'm going to grab the upset here. I'm going to take the Niners on the road in Green Bay to beat the Packers. And I wish Steven was here because he feels like I just always pick the Packers. I don't. And your boy is 10-1 picking Packers games or picking games in the Packers spot this week. Like every week, there's a game in this spot. I'm 10-1 picking that game straight up. So we're going to take the Niners on the road to beat Green Bay. On the line, the Packers are marginal favorites, 2-point favorites here at home, which I totally get, but like the Niners to win outright. So give me the +2 on San Fran. Total in the game set at 47.5 points. The Packers have only hit one over at home this year. I like an under in this one. Pretty close, but I'll take the under. Under 47.5 points. Give me a 23-21 final in favor of the 49ers. Niners win. Niners cover the +2 and give me an under on the points. All right, let's do 3 more quick games here. And before we get into the Sunday night football game, which is Philadelphia in Los Angeles, we're going to start by talking about a battle of two teams coming into their game off of the bye week from last week. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, losers of 4 straight in New York, taking on a Giants team who, as we mentioned, changing quarterback and losers of 5 in a row. So welcome to the proverbial somebody's got to win. Like somebody's got to win between these two teams. Again, both coming in off of a bye, so no rest advantage really either way. The Giants continue to be basically a hard fade for me across the board, and the Bucks are kind of essentially that for me as well. Now, the Bucks are at least scoring, 25 points a game in the last month or so. So the offense is doing its job. The defense has very much not been doing their job. 425 yards a game in their last 4, 31 points a game against in their last 4. It's virtually unwinnable. But we got to look at the opponent here. And the opponent is a New York Giants team that, other than Tyrone Tracy, it's kind of Tracy and everybody else on the offensive side of the ball. Now, again, they did turn to Tommy DeVito, Tommy Cutlets, getting the start at quarterback. He had some flashes last year, but quite frankly, it's one of those situations where I got to see it. Give me the Tampa Bay Bucks here, who again should be getting Mike Evans back either this week or next. That's going to be a big boon to them on the offensive side. So give me the Tampa Bay Bucks on the road in New York to beat the Giants. Worth mentioning, Giants have not won a game at home this year. They are 0-5. On the line, the Giants are taking +6. They've only covered one spread this year at home, whereas the Bucks, to their credit, 3-1 against the spread away from home. Let's lay the 6 points on Tampa Bay. Total in the game set at 41.5 points. The Bucks are 3-1 to the over on the road this year. The Giants have only hit one over, but I think that's such a beatable number at 41.5. Let's go ahead and take an over here, over 41.5 points in Tampa Bay, New York. Maybe it gets a little ugly towards the end of the game. I'm going to go like a 28-20, something like that. So the Bucks do just kind of barely cover that -6. They win, they cover, and give me an over on the points. Now, very quickly, battle of the NFC East, the Dallas Cowboys on a short week, losers of 5 straight, hard fade across the board, versus the Washington Commanders, losers of 2 straight games, and a team that my model doesn't particularly know what to do with right now. They're kind of average across the board over their last 4 games, but they've won 4 of their 5 home games, and Dallas is in absolute shambles. This could very well be the game that gets McCarthy fired. Because if you lose big to a division rival, so that can be the last straw, man. Even if that division rival is like objectively better than you right now, which I think you can easily say the Commanders are. Boy, if you lose big, it's bad news, and that could just spell the end for Mike McCarthy. Big rest discrepancy here as well. The Commanders coming in with the long week, Dallas coming in on the short week, having just played on Monday. So let's go ahead and take the Commanders at home to get the win over the Cowboys. Not saying anything revolutionary in saying that. Now, against the spread, Washington is laying -10. Double digits in a division game for a team that's lost 2 straight. We do this. You all know what this means. Commanders cover. We're holding our nose, and I'm going to lay the -10. Commanders are 4-1 against the spread at home. We'll lay the -10 because Dallas is just obnoxiously bad. Like they're just terrible. And it's not all their fault, but they're just terrible. So lay the -10. Total in the game set at 45. I don't trust the Cowboys defense to keep this under 45 with Jaden Daniels on the other side. I don't think that happens. I think this game sniffs 50, so give me an over. Over 45 points in Washington, Dallas. We're going to go Commanders 34, Cowboys 16. So we'll give them some points, and you will give them something. But yeah, we're going to not good in Dallas. And the last game we'll look at before we move to Sunday Night Football is the Kansas City Chiefs, finally suffering their first loss of the season, mind you, in Carolina, taking on the Panthers, who have won 2 straight games. But yeah, congratulations, Carolina. You win 2 straight games, and now you get to play the Chiefs off of their first loss. 2 thumbs up for the podcast listeners. Hooray and huzzah for Carolina. Chiefs are 4-1 away from home, and I guess that means I didn't really look at this. I guess that means that's tail end of back-to-back road games here for Kansas City. Look, they were undefeated. I still haven't, from an efficiency perspective, haven't absolutely loved what the Chiefs have been doing over the last month or so. I think Carolina is still a pretty darn hard fade on both sides of the ball, offensively and defensively. They have pieces that I like. Obviously, I'm a big Chuba Hubbard stan. I love me some Chuba Hubbard. Jonathan Brooks looks like he's healthy now and ready to go. So the run game could kind of have something going here. But I mean, look, the Chiefs are way too good to lose 2 straight games, especially if one of those games is to Carolina. So, I mean, obviously we're on the Chiefs here. So Kansas City on the road to avenge that first loss of the season. Pardon the ambulance. It's going to be coming by here in just a second. Chiefs win in Carolina, but it's worth noting Carolina is coming in off their bye, so they will be well rested. And in saying that, the Chiefs are laying 11 points. That is a gross overestimation of the level that the Chiefs are at right now, and a little bit of an underestimation of where the Panthers are. Like, if this game was in Kansas City and they were laying 12.5, would anybody be surprised? Probably not. But to be in Carolina and be laying double digits, I just don't love it. So obviously, it's not enough for me to say Carolina's going to win the game outright, but plus 11 points, I actually like that. So I like Kansas City to win, but give me the plus 11 on a better rested Carolina Panthers team. Total in the game set at 43 points. The Panthers are 3-1 to the over at home this year. So I think we'll go ahead and grab an over here. Over 43 points in Kansas City, Carolina. We're going to go Chiefs 27, Panthers 20. Again, I think that Panthers run game can do some stuff in this one, even though the Chiefs, their run defense has been very good this year. Chiefs win. Panthers cover the plus 11 and give me an over on the 43-point total. All right, let's see here. Gorian, Cam Newton knew how to pass. Fair. This Anthony Richardson never will learn. Can't trust San Francisco at this point. It's a Super Bowl hangover for them, says Andrew. Interesting perspective. He also says, if San Francisco beats Green Bay, I'll wear I Love Breakfast and Week 13 video. Perfect. Daniel Jones, at this point, he's turning into a bust. It seems that way. I mean, the real bust was the general manager that paid him. But yeah, I would say he's probably fits the description of the bust. Broken Ankle points out Mike Evans back for Tampa Bay. We like to see that. Andrew, crazy theory. Okay, I love these. Crazy theory. Giants make a coaching change and Bill Belichick returns to the Giants as a head coach. You know, it's interesting because I think the Giants are going to fire the GM too. So could he come back in a dual role like he had in New England? I don't know whether he's motivated to do something like that, but I mean, weirder things have happened. Andrew, I don't even know if Dallas knows what they're doing. Dallas might not know what sport they're playing some weeks. Deion Sanders goes to Dallas to replace Mike McCarthy. Here's the problem. Dallas has always been willing to acquiesce to the sideshows, right? It even kind of started with Jason Garrett and his constantly. And then they go to Mike McCarthy, who, again, a lot of Mike McCarthy's success in Green Bay was because of the quarterback or quarterbacks that he had. It always just, and the Jerry Jones of it all, it was always just kind of a sideshow in Dallas. I don't think Deion Sanders is the answer there. I really don't, because that's just taking the sideshow and turning it up to 11. I don't think that fixes anything for Dallas. Cowboys laid an egg. That's why you hold your nose. Fair enough. Oh my God, Tyler's in the chat. My movie awards compatriot, brethren, saying, "Hey, Rafuse Robard to Justin," which is a joke from our maybe elementary school or high school French days. Do you watch First Take? I have watched First Take in the past. I don't really watch a ton of sports talk shows anymore. I like the Pat McAfee show. That would be the one I suppose I watch the most. But like, I watch a little bit of Get Up. I watch a bit of First Take here and there. I'm not a huge Stephen A. Smith fan, but I know some people in this community who really like Stephen A. So, you know, it's not really my cup of tea, but I do watch sometimes. Also, what's up? Andrew, can Dallas go to the CFL next June? I keep saying this. We don't want your teams. The CFL does not want the crummy NFL teams. We don't want them. Keep them here. Dream match, Chiefs versus the Argos. I would love, and I'm going to put this out in the universe now as if it's a thing that'll ever happen, but I'm going to put this out in the universe. I would love to see an exhibition game, you know, preseason level, maybe not even that, Pro Bowl level, whatever, an exhibition game between the previous season's Super Bowl champion and either the previous season's Grey Cup champion, or even you could even do like a CFL All-Star team or whatever. I would love to see some kind of NFL versus CFL exhibition, something. Play it up here in Canada, play it under CFL rules, or go back and forth year over year, and 1 year play CFL rules, 1 year play NFL. I'm just going to put this out in the universe, see if we can't get the NFL and the CFL talking on this, because I would love to see it. Could bring CFL back to the United States? No. Hard no. Hard no on that one. And I'm not anti-USA. The CFL needs to expand to a 10th Canadian market before it would ever contemplate going anywhere else. I think the CFL in the US was a failed experiment. I think it just needs to stay in Canada. All right. Andrew says in Halifax, that we agree with. All right. Sunday night football. The Philadelphia Eagles on the road in Los Angeles taking on the Rams. The Eagles, winners of 6 straight games, 4-1 straight up on the road this season, and with the benefit of the long week, having played on Thursday night last week. And in Los Angeles, a team that did get the win last week. It was not a game that I picked them to win. I think they were against the Patriots, and I think I took the Patriots. I think that's the way that went. In any case, Rams were winners last week. The Rams are moving the ball fairly well, obviously getting, Puka and Cup back somewhat healthy has definitely helped them out. Although, again, I don't really think their stars quite played up to their level last week. Meanwhile, I mean, the Eagles, all of their stars, I think, are playing up to the level that most people would expect them. They are getting great quarterback play, great receiver play. Obviously, Saquon Barkley is like a one of one, basically. Like, there's nobody quite like Saquon. Philly is playing very, very hot right now. And I just don't think the Rams have the numbers to reasonably expect that they get the win here. So I'm very heavy on the Eagles here. They're one of the best teams in football. I think they show it this week. Give me the Philadelphia Eagles on Sunday night in Los Angeles to beat the Rams. Now, on the line, the Rams are taking +3 against the spread as a, fairly decent home dog. The Eagles have covered 4 of 5 spreads on the road this season, so let's lay the -3 on them. I like them to win. Fairly small price to pay. One of the few small prices to pay against the spread this week. Total in the game set at 49 points. I like an under here. I think this gets to a mid 40, but not a high. So give me under on the 49-point total. Let's go 26-20 in favor of the Philadelphia Eagles, who win, cover, and under on the points. Division matchup of the AFC South is coming up next. The Tennessee Titans, losers of 2 straight, travel to Houston on the short week, having just played on Monday night. We have a Texans team 4-1 at home this year, coming off of obviously a big win on Monday night against Dallas. The Titans have only won 1 game away from Tennessee this season. Obviously, they've been struggling mightily all season long. They have what is essentially an unwinnable defense. Like, I mean, their defensive efficiency right now is a 9.6. Let me paint this picture for you. In their last 4 games, they've only allowed about 285 yards a game on defense. That's like top 5 in the NFL. Tremendously good from a total defense perspective. They're allowing 30 points a game. Like, can't win with it. Like, imagine if they were giving up 350 yards. Would they be giving up 40? Like, you can't win with a defense that chronically inefficient. And it's worse than any other team in football over the last month. So, like, the Tennessee Titans are the hardest of hard fades right now. And on the offensive side of the ball, their efficiency ain't that much better. So we're very heavily on the Houston Texans in this game. Houston with a big win coming up at home. How big? I'm laying the 8.5 points. They're minus 8.5 as a very strong home favorite. I'm going to lay it because it's less than double digits. The Titans have only covered one spread away from home all year long. The defense is abysmal. So I just can't have them covering plus 8.5 against a team that I think is turning a corner, especially now that they've got Nico Collins back. It's game on for Houston at this point. Total in the game set at 40.5 points. And even though I just said what I said about the Titans on the defensive side, I'm going to take an under here because Houston has not gone over at home this year at all. They've had 5 home games. They're 0-5 to the over. So even though this number is crazy low, I think the Titans are going to struggle to get to double digits. I think they just barely get there, but I think they're going to struggle to get to double digits. And given that, I'm going to take the under. Give me like a 27-10, a very comfortable win for the Houston Texans. They cover the minus 8.5, but give me an under on the 40.5 points. The Denver Broncos hit the road for a division matchup of the AFC West. They're in Las Vegas taking on a Raiders team that has dropped 6 games in a row. So not good times in Vegas. 1-3 straight up at home this year. So not finding a lot of success in Vegas, not really able to take advantage of that quote unquote Vegas hangover. And the Broncos, I think, are playing some excellent football right now. The offense is kind of middling, but I feel like Bo Nix is really playing some of his best football here in his rookie season. The defense has been very strong over the last month, and I think it's the defense that really propels the Broncos to a fairly comfortable win here in Vegas against the division opponent. Let's take Denver on the road to beat the Raiders. On the line here, the Raiders are taking +6 against the spread, which makes, Denver a fairly strong road favorite, but they are 5-1 against the spread on the road this year. So I think we're going to go ahead and lay the -6 on Denver. It is under a touchdown. I feel like they are a bat team. They are that much better than the Raiders are right now. So -6, I'm okay laying it. Total in the game set at 41 points, and I think I'm going to defer to a Raiders defense that is almost as bad as the Titans are playing right now. Almost as bad. Not quite, but almost as bad. I think they beat this number. So I'm going to go with an over on the 41. The Raiders are 3-1 to the over at home this year. So give me like a 31-14. Again, very, very, very comfortable win for the Denver Broncos. Over on the 41 points, 31-14 means the Broncos win and they cover the -6. And the last game we're going to look at before we look at Monday Night Football, which is between Baltimore and Los Angeles. That is a AFC title game preview potentially. Like, would anybody be shocked if that was the AFC title game? I mean, it doesn't have Kansas City in it, but you probably shouldn't be because those two teams are great. But the last game we're going to look at, the Arizona Cardinals on the road in Seattle taking on the Seahawks. Now, Seattle were winners last week. The Cardinals are coming into this game off of their bye, so they will be well rested, and they're winners of 4 consecutive games. The Arizona Cardinals, a team that I have been chronically underrating basically all season long. Now, the Seahawks are another one of those bend but don't break defenses. They are allowing, top 10 most yards in the last month, but they're only giving up 22 points a game in that same span. So their efficiency has been pretty strong. Actually, from an efficiency perspective, it's right about the same as Pittsburgh. So efficiency wise, they're about on that level. So it feels like if the Seahawks are going to win this game, it's going to be on the defensive side. Problem with that is Arizona's defense has been lights out over the last month. Top 5 efficiency, top 5 scoring defense, top 10 total defense. You have not been able to move the ball or score on this Arizona Cardinals defense over the last month. Again, 4 straight wins, well rested off the bye. I actually really like the Cards here. I know Gorian a little bit earlier mentioned that he's taken the Seahawks to win this game outright. They're only 2-4 at home. They're not playing at home the way the Seahawks team traditionally has. So I really like Arizona in this spot. Give me the Cards to win their 5th straight game. Arizona beats Seattle. On the line, Seattle originally was a 1-point favorite here. This number has crossed the 0 to where Seattle is now a 1-point dog. I just don't like that. Obviously, I like Arizona to win. It's only -1. So I'm going to be laying the -1 on the Cards. Worth noting, they are 3-1 away from home against the spread this year. Total in the game sit at 47.5 points. Got to defer to that incredible Arizona defense over the last month. Give me an under in this one, under 47.5 points in Arizona, Seattle. I'm going to go like a 26-17, something like that. 2-possession win for the Cards. They win. They cover the marginal -1 and an under on the 47.5 point total. All right, we're very quickly going to catch up with chat here, and then we're going to talk about that Monday night football game, that incredible game, Baltimore at Los Angeles. Let's see. Andrew says, I don't watch sports talk shows anymore, but I like First Take. I don't mind First Take. Like I say, I don't mind it. It's not kind of my first thought for sports talk shows. You know what I mean? Let's see. CFL to Moncton or Halifax. All the CFL talk, we miss it already. It's always in my heart, and it's most of the time it's on my back too. Shout out to the Alouettes shirt that I'm wearing right now. Philadelphia is a hot team at the right time. Absolutely, 100%. And look, momentum, whether it can be carried game to game, is kind of dubious and debatable. But I like to think that it can, and like to think Philadelphia is doing that right now. Tyler, I brought up First Take because someone who hates the Cowboys informed me that Stephen A is constantly shitting on them and their fans. Stephen A has made a career on like TikTok or Instagram or whatever of doing these reels. Like whenever the Cowboys lose, he does like a video, and it'll be like, it'll start by like looking at a wall or a TV or something, and then it'll come over to his face, and he's just making like a troll face, and then he'll just break out laughing. He'll just be like, ah! That's kind of his thing whenever the Cowboys lose, and the Cowboys have been losing a lot this season. So his voice is going hoarser than mine as he is making all these videos. At least one Texas team is doing great. That comes from Andrew. Maybe the move to Vegas is a bad call. I would have liked to have seen them stay in Oakland, but then again, I would have liked to have seen the Athletics stay in Oakland as well. Bo Nix might be the guy in Denver. I think Bo Nix very much is the guy in Denver. Arizona, Seattle should be a primetime game. I would have been okay with that. I would have been kind of more okay with that as the Sunday nighter and then move Philly, Los Angeles out of that spot. I think Arizona, Seattle's more interesting. And who would have thunk the Cardinals would be in first place in the NFC West? I know. Definitely not this guy. They're like one of my biggest misses on the season in terms of where I thought they were going to be. All right, so it turns out I am going to fail my 1 hour goal, but not by too much. Monday Night Football, the Baltimore Ravens on the road in Los Angeles taking on the Chargers. Both of these teams, as far as I'm concerned, are like hard takes. Like, I love the way both of these teams have been playing over the last month or so. Offenses, moving the ball, scoring a ton of points. Defensively, Chargers on point. Top 5 efficiency, top 5 total defense. They've been playing incredible. The Ravens on the defensive side, little pull the collar here. Not quite, not bad, but not quite what you'd be hoping for if you're a Ravens fan. I don't think I'm saying anything out of bounds by saying that. Defensively, the numbers over the last month have not been where you need them to be. They're only giving up 23 points a game. That's not bad. Their efficiency is 16.4. It's better than the league average. They're giving up about 375 yards a game. That is bottom 10. So it has not been super difficult to move the ball on the Ravens so far this season. Martin's in the chat. Go Ravens. Hi, guys. Hey, Martin. So I think that's a big difference in this game. The Chargers can win this game on the defensive side. If their offense plays the way it's been playing over the last month, and their defense plays the way they've been playing over the last month, this defense is one of the few defenses in the NFL right now that I would feel okay holding up to the Ravens on the offensive side. Because right now there's almost nobody that can touch the Ravens when they have the football. They're scoring a ton of points. They're moving the ball at will. There's very few defenses that can step to that. I think the Chargers are one of them. The fact that this Chargers team, 4-1 at home, has that opportunity, and when they have the ball, could potentially be facing a defense without Roquan Smith. Roquan Smith injured his hamstring last week, left the game, did not return. Soft tissue, anything can happen with hamstring injuries. I don't think he plays this week. He is the objective leader of that defense. You've had Kyle Hamilton, who's been banged up over the last month or so. Significant pieces of this Ravens on the defensive side not at 100% or not playing entirely. Ladies and gentlemen, I like the upset. Give me the Harbaugh-led Los Angeles Chargers at home to win their 5th consecutive game. Chargers beat the Ravens in prime time on Monday night. On the line, Chargers taking +3 against the spread. They are 4-1 against the spread at home this season. Give me the +3 because I like them to win outright. Total in the game set at 51 points. Baltimore has hit 5 of 6 overs this season. Again, I should kind of be deferring on the defensive side, but look, this Ravens team is going to get their points. We know this Ravens team is going to get their points. I think the Chargers just get that little bit more. I am going to take an over on the 51 points because, look, the Chargers offense has been no slouches this month either. So, over the 51 points, 30-24. Final score, Chargers beat the Ravens at home in a statement game for the Chargers and their prospects of winning the AFC. So 30-24, Chargers win, Chargers cover, over on the 51-point total. There you have it, folks. Those are the picks for week 12 in the NFL in 2024. That's it for me, Justin, Bridgewater's Finest on YouTube, Blockbuster_guy on Twitter. Thank you so much for taking the time to check out the show, check out the picks this week. Enjoy the games in week 12. We will see you again for the luckiest of weeks, week number 13. Oh, guys, I was so close. I almost did it. An hour and 3. So close. Damn it. So close to getting it in under an hour. What are you going to do? If I cut out some of the dead air, I'd have had it, but man, so close. All right. We're in the post show at this point. What do you like? What do you like? What do you dislike? Where do you think I'm way off base? The picks that you love, the picks that you hate. Andrew, you know me about San Fran and Green Bay. Not crazy about you taking the Patriots beating Miami, but I like them +7. Yeah, 7 points there is. I don't think the Dolphins quite have the track record for that yet. They're building. They're moving in that direction, right? Like it's been, the last 2 games have been really good. So they're building that momentum. Yeah, 7 points right now. Don't love it. But yeah, I was like, lean on the better defense. Why not? So I'm going to go ahead and accept my consolation prize, which is getting the stream done in an hour and 5 minutes. Thank you so much, folks, for stopping by for part of the stream, most of the stream. Broken ankle. I don't think I could talk you out of another of those picks. There's a few that I'm 50-50 on, but we'll see. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for taking the time to check out the stream this week. Enjoy the games. We will see you again next week, probably back at 7 p.m.